welcome everyone to Expert Elite World. My name is Tony Carkmo, President of Civil CAD Learning Solutions and also President of the DFW BIM Infrastructure User Group. And today our special guest is Stacey. Stacey, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stacey Morykin. I am the President of the Mid-Atlantic Autodesk User Group, or MAUG, and I currently reside on the East Coast of the United States in Pennsylvania. What else do you want me to say, Tony?
Oh, no. Yep.
Perfect.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So what do you do at your job, your company?
Yeah. So most recently, within the last year, I switched companies, and I now work for Gannett Fleming.
Okay.
I am in one of their engineering technology managers. So okay. I feel like we all kind of do the same thing. We just have different titles. I think we need to all put our heads together and come up with a real title to call ourselves. You know, it really, the title is the same as like design technology manager, or you know, my focus there is really to move the needle on the horizontal infrastructure side, make sure that we are efficient and progressing and model centric and BIM focused, or information modeling focused on every single project. So that's really my job and my role at Gannett. And Gannett has offices all over the US as well as Canada. So we are a global firm, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I get to see a lot of really cool projects, really large projects.
Yeah.
And work with a lot of different facets and of a project. So
that's cool. That's cool. So what software do y'all typically use at y'all's office locations or company?
Everything. I mean, we are not vendor specific. Okay. I'll just put it that way. So we do have a very large space in transportation. Yeah. So a lot of our business is transportation. So that gives you some inclination as to what platforms we span. But on the Autodesk side of the house, we do everything from Revit to Plant 3D to AutoCAD to Civil 3D, Dynamo. I think we've got some Inventor guys in there. So we're an enterprise business account. So we get our fingers on everything, which is really, really cool.
Oh yeah, we got several other expert leads where they're managing not just the Autodesk products, but they're also managing other products like the Bentley, the Transoft Solutions, other third-party companies and stuff like that. So the bigger companies, it's totally understandable they are using other products too, in conjunction. So
it's a ridiculous portfolio. It's ridiculous. It's like 350 software titles, and that's not unheard of.
That's not even including like crazy. The 3D modeling aspects of it too. You got Twin Motions, the Lumion, Inkscape, and all that kind of other products stuff they use for 3D modeling presentations. So those bigger companies, they can have a huge list of different design tools and stuff. So
I mean, it's fun because you're never working on the same thing, right? There's always a challenge, so that's cool.
Yep. But I dabble a little bit with SketchUp. I dabble with Lumion. Been slowly teaching myself both of those products. Dabbling right now with Revit. Esri is another one. People, everybody's using Esri too for GIS features and tools. But yeah, I mean, if there's tools in certain other products, I'll use it. So I've used the Bentley Side Up tool. I think they've renamed it now, but I thought it was a great product, for doing site layouts for subdivisions and commercial projects. So for years I've used that kind of, tool. So Transoft Solutions, everybody's, accustomed to using in the past. AutoTurn, which has been around forever, but they also have other products for roundabouts and I think airport projects and stuff like that. So, but cool. When did you start using some of the Autodesk products? I guess if you remember back to the very first version.
I'm old, Tony. I'm really old. I think if I gave the first version, I started out on the drafting board.
Yeah.
So.
I remember using a drafting board. We got several EEs that go way back to the DOS point 9, 8 versions, and
yeah, we had to load that on floppy disk.
Floppy disk. Yep. We have several EEs. We had discussions about that, using the old floppy to boot up the computer, and using DOS, and using the board, the digitizer.
Yes. Oh gosh, the tablet with all the little icons on it. Yeah. For sure. I think I still have my old like Leroy scales, and I think some of the youngsters, if you will, coming out of college now are like, what's a Leroy scale? No, it's an actual scale.
Yeah. I mean, I want to go buy me myself one of those digitizers just to have it on my desk.
Yeah. So we need like a drafting and design technology museum somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
there you go.
Engineering museum.
Because it's come a long ways. I'm buying myself one of those very first, what they call it, the transit for surveying. Those bronze ones, those are really cool. We had to use those in the military, in the Air Force. The first 2 weeks was manual drafting. And then we spent several, I don't know how many weeks on surveying. We did every type of surveying, but we started from the very most basic survey tool, which is the old school transit. And then we slowly, it taught us to use every single survey tool, from the theodolite to the T16 to the LiDAR scanner. So yeah, it was pretty cool with how they teach you every little aspects, and doing the chain and the Philly rods and stuff like that. So how to do repairs. So it was a fun thing. So, the Air Force did a really great job of training us. So that's all you did for 4 years, is train. So really that first.
Yeah.
So
I, as far as like a first release, I think when, so I went to a vocational technical school for high school, and back then, you didn't, I think it was a little faux pas not to go to college after high school, but I mean, I did, but I didn't like get a degree, right? Yeah. I just went and I dabbled, and I was like, I could work, and I know enough, I can learn on the job. So I didn't go to college right away after high school, but my very first release of AutoCAD, I think it was, oh my God, I'm going to date myself. I think it was release 9 or 10, if you remember the R9, R10.
Yep.
So yeah, I still remember the digitizers. I still remember the tablets. I still remember the pucks, right? Like they weren't mice, they were pucks.
Pucks,
yeah. So it was like the 15 different buttons, and button 1 would do something, button 2 would do something else. And I still remember those very vividly. So those were good times.
I don't know. See, I started a little late. I went straight to the Air Force after high school. I just don't remember. I started R12.
Okay.
But I want to say our high school had AutoCAD, but I think it was just in a different department, so I never got to see it and everything. So I know they had a drafting and computer something class, so I'm pretty sure they had it, even though we're out in the country, out in East Texas. So so we're pretty small, population 2,000. So one blinking red light. So
that's funny.
But I want to say we did have it, so I had to go verify that. But I started with 12. And then we progressed every year to every version. So the military would upgrade us every single year on the platform. But it was really interesting because, like, one base, you're strictly all Autodesk, but if you go to different base, it could be all Bentley. They didn't standardize it across every single military base. No, that base decided which one they wanted to use. So I thought it was kind of odd. Like, you drive up to maybe Pensacola at that Air Force base. I was in Panama City, Florida, at Tyndall Air Force Base, and that base could be using Bentley. If we're collaborating, like, oh, really? Come on, guys.
Yeah. But it probably gave you a really good cross section, and like you probably learned both platforms, right?
It was strictly, they stuck it to AutoCAD. So
what's funny is you didn't have to learn both.
At tech school, it was AutoCAD. So if they went to a base and it was all Bentley, they would have to retrain them. So,
right.
But it was after we got out of tech school, which is kind of like college. We would we had to go take classes at a local community college, so they make us take some advanced classes, advanced AutoCAD 1, 2, and 3, and then we took an advanced an additional advanced survey class. So yeah, they taught us surveying, but then we took even more advanced surveying classes at a local community colleges, like during the evenings and stuff. So they would just tell us, hey, we signed you up for a class. Like, okay, we don't have to test in or anything. No, we don't do that. But you don't test in, we
Right.
call up the Air Force, the community college, and tell them, hey, we need to get these people registered. So
Cool.
But yeah, I started with AutoCAD 12, and then I really didn't get heavily involved with Autodesk products, like wanting to advance my knowledge, until like 2006, maybe 2007. And when I was in San Antonio for many years after the Air Force, and then when I moved to Dallas, 2006, Civil 3D was already out. I'm the one trying to help everybody do tech support. No one knows Civil 3D in this office. So I joined the beta team and started, learning, doing a lot of self-learning and teaching. So, and stuck to it. So it started, and after a few years, after trying to master as much as I can, then I started the blog, the Tony Civil 3D World blog. So I used to blog a lot. No, it's been a fun experience. Even to this day, I still, tell people, look, I might be an expert elite, but there's no way I know all of aspects of Civil 3D. It's just too large to learn everything. If you don't use it, you're going to forget about how to use that tool, so because you got other, add-ons to it. You got the SSA, you got the Map 3D, you got the 3D modeling of the AutoCAD side of it, so there's just so many parts of it. The raster design that sits on top of it, the geotechnical module, all these different modules that sits on top. It's just like, it's hard to keep up with all that stuff. So that's why I tell people, like, you'll never learn all of it. Trust me. I don't know if I've met somebody that knew every aspect of Civil 3D. And there's new features coming out every 3 months, so, and we try to, help and educate our internal departments, using these new features and stuff. So, for many years, I never used the survey module tool, until I started getting clients calling up. So I had to go reteach myself using the survey module tool. So, there's things I don't really dabble in because I never have to use it. So I don't go and really teach it. But now that I'm a training consultant, I have to. So I got to try to keep up with all that, plus all the different versions. So when I have clients call me up, hey, I'm using 2012 Civil 3D, I'm like, oh man, do I have that at one of my laptops? So
2012?
Yeah. I've had
boy.
clients call me up, they have AutoCAD 2006, and they want to upgrade to 2021, but they want to make it look kind of like AutoCAD 2006. So as a consultant, you have to be prepared for all that. So like, one of my laptop has, I think, 7 different versions on it. Another one at home has got 6, you try to keep up with all.
What version of Windows do you have to have in order to run 12? It's probably it's not XP, is it?
No, back when 12 was around, Windows 7 was still around. You still have Windows 7, and it was still 64-bit, but there was also a 32-bit.
Okay. So, right. Is that the time frame where we transitioned from XP to Windows 7 and then 32 and then Windows 7?
It was yeah, I think it was around 2012. Yeah.
Is that when it was?
Yeah, I think
it feels like it wasn't that long ago, but
yeah. Well, that's when the company I was with, when I transitioned. I don't know when other people their transition, but I remember, because that's when I had my very first Autodesk audit. So because I was upgrading the computer from Windows XP to Windows 7 64-bit. And I didn't bother uninstalling all the products. I just installed Windows and reinstalled all the licensing. And so Autodesk kind of reached out to me like the next day. You do realize that you've doubled your license. What's going on over there?
Yeah, right. What are you doing? Let us see.
I didn't even think about it. It was only like 30. I think it was like 30 seats or something. And and I'm like, oh no, we were installing Windows 7. He goes, oh, you should have did this and export this out, your license and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, lessons learned. It happens to the best of us, Won't do that again.
But yeah, it was interesting that it didn't take them very long to contact me. So
no.
But when they probably see like that many licenses at their end being registered in the same day, re-registered.
Yeah.
So.
I actually, making that transition, back in 2010 or 12, the company I was working for was still very much on the desktop. And and not really using land desktop the way land desktop was designed to be used, but I had an understanding of where the DTM files were saved and profiles were saved and those folders and setting up projects and you're going to click and pick it this way and don't do anything outside of this. Otherwise you're going to screw up the entire project. And I don't want to have to click and pick to try and figure out where the hell this data is. So when they made the transition, or they decided to make the transition, I still remember sitting for my certification for land desktop at the time. And the local partner here, reseller here, was like, "Well, it's free. Do you want to sit for the Civil 3D?" And I'm like, "Yeah. I mean, it can't be that much different, right? I mean, I know land desktop. It's not that hard, right?" Oh my God, I bombed that thing. I bombed it. It was so bad. It was so bad. I don't even think I scored like a 10. I don't think I got one damn question right.
You got the name right.
Yeah, I got the name right, and I still remember standing up and the guy that I knew really well was like, "How'd you do?" I was like, "You sabotaged me. You tricked me."
Yeah. I knew what the open button was, and that was about it.
yeah. That's what I said. I think I got like maybe one or two questions. But that's when I was first like, okay, this is not the same as land desktop as LDD, right? So then we really took the time at the company I was working for at the time, made a huge investment in that transition and saying, okay, we're going to move from land desktop to Civil 3D. So I think the first version we started on was 2012, and making that transition and building out templates and styles and really just starting from the ground up. So I was fortunate enough to be on that team that was, the trainers. So they trained us, we got all of this knowledge, and then it was our job to then go and train the rest of the firm, which at the time was about 1,200 people. So for 2 years, myself and probably about 3-4 other people just went around to all the different offices and held training sessions for 5 to 10 people at a time. So I got a chance to kind of like do my own thing and learn how people and skill set. I thought it was great. I got to learn where people's skill sets were, like who became the subject matter experts, who really gravitated to it and could help then spread additional knowledge and expertise. I also feel like that gave me a really good base for presenting with a larger audience and trying to read where the audience skill set was at and what type of information would provide value, et cetera. So yeah, that was my 2012 in making that transition. And since then it's just been I'm with you. There's so much that has been added. It's really, really hard to keep up with it all. So what I like to do is just, I find maybe 1 or 2 things that I feel would benefit the organization or the teams the most at the firm I'm representing, and then learning as much as I possibly can about that. And I don't want to say selling it, but selling it to the organization and saying, I think this will really help us, and this is why, and this is the added benefit, and this is the value that we can save, or the time that we can save. So most recently, it's been collaboration for Civil 3D and Dynamo. I'm in love with Dynamo. I don't know if you've had a chance to play with it or not, but
I have.
In the beginning,
not too thrilled about it. I mean, I see the benefits, but yeah, I had a lot of discussion with other expert leads about it. Some people love it, some of them don't like it, and so it doesn't give you the full range like the Dyno for Revit, but you're very limited to what you can do. But
not yet. It's coming along quite well, though. I actually, over the last, if we were talking about, I mean, it's been out for 2 years now, so it's come a long ways from 2019. But I will admit that when it first came out, it was kind of like, there's nothing here. So you just kind of have this shell or this framework, and but I can't really do anything with it.
Most of it was like road corridors,
alignments and
that. So but
it's come a long way.
We're going to have a deep discussion about that in the next round of Expert Lead video podcast, because not everybody's on board, and some people are definitely on board. And talk about, who should be using it. I had a big, talk about, it's like, I don't see everybody just at their desk sitting there writing Dynamo scripts,
Oh,
then the project
Tony.
be held behind. So
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I mean, coming over to Gannett, there's a lot of really, and I'm not saying there's no that smart people everywhere else, but at Gannett, there's a lot of really, really smart people and think out of the box and like, hey, what could we do with this and what could we do with that?
Mhm.
So when it comes to Dynamo, I think I don't want to give away too much, but I'm excited for what Gannett Fleming can present or is going to present within the next year or two.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to innovation and Dynamo and how we've utilized Dynamo to our benefit. So I'm excited. I don't want to give away too much, but something big's coming.
Give us little crumbs and stuff. So
something big's coming. And,
I think the fun part of what I've been having, running my own little private consultant, is when I'm getting clients. Every client has different projects, have different challenges of providing tech support, training, creating templates for different companies. I create templates. So it's been really fun. I mean, every this week was somebody from a different state doing this particular type of projects. And I'm going to try to figure out how to help them create a more efficient workflow for their projects. So that's kind of been the fun part, is being a CAD manager at other previous companies. It's, hey, it's this particular project. That's all they work on. Maybe it's just subdivisions. Maybe it's just commercial. Maybe it's just light industrial or airport projects. They don't, or transportation. But here I'm getting a broad range of all kinds of projects coming in, oil and gas, and some of them are very specific, very unique projects where I'm trying to think different tasks for them, features, or even custom apps. My little consulting company, we actually create custom apps, and some people will request certain unique apps, and we'll create that for them. But no, it's been a fun ride. I think you when you experience our very first meeting at EU, you'll see the other groups of Jedis across the world, so, and get to mingle with them. So, let's see, where do you think the software is going to be in the next few years? Let's say in 10 years, where do you expect it to be? Or where would you like it to be in 10 years?
I hope before that time, because 10 years, no, I won't be retired by then. But I hope before then. But where I really think it's going is, really just concentrating on the model and the information and what we're producing.
Yeah.
I really, really, this whole digital delivery, it's starting to go into that realm, or that fourth industrial revolution type of environment, where it doesn't matter. It's platform agnostic. It doesn't matter if it comes from, if you create a pipe, what's a pipe? It should not matter if that pipe was created in Plant 3D, in Revit, in Civil 3D. It has some metadata and data that you need in order to build it, in order to analyze it, in order to design it. So what I'm really hoping is that all of these applications and these software platforms, it really doesn't matter, that there is a common data environment or a common data exchange, right? Maybe it's the IFCs. I saw that Autodesk recently became part of the Open Design Alliance, which is great news. It's awesome. So I'm really looking and I'm watching really closely as to what's happening with the whole IFC data format and that exchange of data across platforms, not only within the specific vendor, but across vendors. So that's my hope and my dream. I hope I see it in my lifetime.
I think it will. I mean, as fast as the technology is moving, it's like almost every few weeks, there's a new feature getting released on an update or something. Hey, we got a new update. So I don't know if you take part on the beta side,
I do.
Always all kinds of stuff they're wanting us to test out and get input.
Yeah, my biggest gripe about that is it's too much. I mean, if you think about companies, larger organizations that utilize a number of products across the platform, it's too much. I mean, every product is updating on their own schedule. And, you know, I mean, within 1 week, we could have 10 different updates that we've got to push out. And it's too much. I wish they would organize it a little bit better, but and maybe just do updates like quarterly or talk to one another.
Well, I've been pushing for years with other expert elites, having biannual releases of new versions, and say, hey, you can't. We really got to stop this, you know, yearly release, you know, because most companies are not up to date on their software. They're like 2 versions back. Most companies that I'm seeing are 1 to even 3 versions back. Some like bigger companies, I've seen that they only renew every 3 years. They'll renew and upgrade a 3rd year, you know, so so they'll skip 2 years.
In this area, I've seen 2020 has kind of been left behind. Definitely 2021 has been utilized the most. And now with 2022 coming out, I don't know that anybody's rushing to it. So I agree to that. I haven't seen anybody rushing or like knocking down our doors. Like, you have to install this. We have to use it on the brand new project. Revit, yes. Civil 3D, not so much. So
I just wish they would release it every other year. That way they can catch up with a lot of updates, and then release certain updates in certain quarters or even half years. Like every July, there's an update coming, you know, if you can time it. But some things has to be fixed immediately. If there's a bug and it's affecting thousands of companies because there's if it's a projection production or something, a printing, they got to release it next week or something, you know. They can't wait till July to release it if it's January. So I can totally understand that.
It's too much to keep up with. I mean, even just with the collaboration for Civil 3D and this desktop connector that comes up every month, like by the time we roll it out to 3,000 people and everybody has it and everybody's using it, there's a new update that comes out. So we have to go like every other month or every 6 months or every
like
quarter.
Samsung and Apple with their new phones. Every time you buy the latest one, oh, there's a new one out. What are you talking about?
Right. Well, what's that one do? Not much different. Well, then we're not going to it.
That's what it feels like the new phones, because as soon as you get your new one, there's a new one getting out next week. And it's like they're pushing a new one out every 2 months.
I don't need to be on the latest and greatest, unless I'll watch the release notes and we'll see if it's like a big bug fix like you're talking about, or there's a new feature that's added on. Then I might download it and test it out, but I'm part of that testing group too. So, but I might download it, try it out with a couple of live projects, and then say, okay, this is good. But by the time I test that one and then deploy it, there's a new one out anyway. So.
That's funny. So did you have any challenges, you know, during COVID? Because most the companies, I don't work with giant companies, but I work with more smaller companies. They work off workstations. So if they were doing work from homes, that, you know, having to provide laptops for all your users, you know, I bet that was a challenge. If you don't use laptops at work, you use workstations. So either you had to go purchase a bunch of laptops or you had to go buy and rent a laptops. Then you have to create and transfer or create a network license to put those software on those computers, you know. Did y'all have to go through all that?
So I transitioned companies in the middle of this pandemic.
Oh, okay.
So in September, I joined Gannett Funding. Prior to that, the company, but I will say that I've been, I guess, fortunate enough because both my previous company and Gannett had a lot of workers that already had laptops, right? So they weren't really on workstations. And if they were on workstations, then grab your stuff and go home, right? And whatever you need for your home environment, just put in a request and we'll make sure that you have it. So I don't think that was too difficult. Definitely VPNs and remote connections was a little challenging, but I think both companies that I've worked for handled it really, really well. I know that I wasn't part of it, but I know that Gannett went through a fire drill. So the CIO here said, okay, let's sudo and let's just time it out and let's pretend like an entire day is just 1 hour. So what could we get done in 1 hour for that entire day to make that transition? So they nailed it. They killed it. So I mean, everybody transitioned home very, very well in both companies. So I didn't really see any challenges. I think one of the benefits that came from it was definitely this whole digital delivery idea. There's a lot of engineers that are still very much stuck in this paper and pencil, need to see it on paper, need to write it out with pencil, need to make these markups, need to print it out. And with tools like Collaboration for Civil 3D or Bluebeam or Procore, whatever you're using, you know, there's this thing where you don't have to print it out and redline mark it up and then scan it back in just to send it to somebody. You can do all of that on the computer and send it. So there's really no need to print. So one of the biggest changes I saw was a drastic reduction in printing costs, which is great.
Yeah. Those rows are rows of print rows on his plotters. They're several $100, you know. So I remember having to order them, you know, when I was doing CAD management. I'm like, man, that's a lot of rolls we just ordered the whole box of those. So
that's funny. I can remember working on a casino project when they were bringing the casinos to Pennsylvania. And one of the companies I worked for had one of them that were going up. So we created the land development plans for them, and we obviously we took it outside to print just because it was just so much. It was so much to print. I think one of our plan sets was 1,000 pages, and to the local municipality they wanted like 15 copies. We're like, did they have any idea? And they wanted full size sheets. And we're calling them like, are you sure you want full size sheets? Like we can reduce this, we can send it to you PDF. Nope, gotta follow the rules, you know, no exceptions type of thing. So I can still remember like 3 of us showing up to this, you know, print-a-stat type of thing, and we've got buggies, we've got trucks, we've got
that's probably a $2,000 to $3,000 bill from the copier machines and stuff.
At the very least, it was $2,000 to $3,000. And for what? I'm sure it's still probably sitting in the municipality somewhere in the basement collecting dust. You know, I don't know. But I'm very glad to see those days start to deplete.
Slowly going digital and some of these cities and stuff. So what was I going to say? You were talking about big sets. I was telling somebody the other day that when I was in the Air Force, back then we were still using ammonia machines for copies. There wasn't copiers and stuff. And then somebody came in one day with a set of plans. I had to look it up, and the plans were 268 sheets. And they go, how many do you need copies? I mean, just 268 would take me several hours to do with ammonia. And we had the big industrial one, not the little ones.
I remember those
8 sets. And I'm like, what?
I'll be here all week.
We took turns. It took us, I think, 2 or 3 days. I think it was two straight days. And every 2 hours we had to walk out of there. You had to get out of the room.
Right, because of the smell.
And that had to be a health issue, but
I'm sure
that's another airman.
That's how I started as an intern, right? My very first job was running prints through the ammonia machine. Like these kids today don't know anything.
You got lucky.
Yeah, you guys are lucky. You get to work on projects.
Oh, they didn't do it. Look at that. Half of it didn't work. So
the ammonia ran out, so now we got to go get the gloves and that, and start pouring it in. I mean, no clue what we went through.
We took it digitally. The last month I was in the Air Force, we went and copied every set of plans in the vault before I got out. We spent weeks, like 4 weeks. We're talking about all the plans ever created in that military base.
That's insane.
Vault. And even the old onion paper that's super thin, you're going to be very careful because it'll rip. It's all pencil drawings. And then we had to type in the names and tags and descriptions. That took forever to scan it.
Sure.
Information, project number, title, all that stuff.
Boy.
So there was, I don't know, thousands.
I'm so glad those days are over, Tony. Aren't you? Where you don't have to smell ammonia anymore.
All those airmen after me and captains and lieutenants after me, should thank me and there's 2 airmen, that did it.
Yeah, that's right.
Going through all that.
if we're crazy, it's because of all the ammonia fumes over the years.
That's probably why I'm a little crazy. Yeah. So they did test me when I got out and said I wasn't crazy, but
well, that's good. That's good.
But yeah, real quick before we take off, hobbies. What kind of hobbies are you part of? Any kind of local community group? Doesn't have to be software related. Anything you do locally in the community, or hobbies you do? So.
Let's see. So I'm a mom. I am a wife and a mom of two that are 5 and 7. Yeah. So they keep me very busy. I don't know if I can have hobbies outside of taking care of those stoves. They keep me very, very busy. But my son's very much into baseball. So I'm, super into baseball, always at those games and helping out wherever I can. As far as hobbies are concerned, though, we do like to camp or glamp. We have an RV, and in the summertime we go down to the beach.
Okay.
Like maybe every other weekend, or spend as much time as we can. And we have a boat, so we love to go fishing out on the Delaware Bay. And I'm definitely a jeans and t-shirt type of person. So I just sitting out in a boat and fishing and crabbing is definitely my scene, and just being on the water and hearing nothing but silence is great. So how about you? What are your hobbies?
I'm a big tech guy, so I love all kinds of technology. I got anything tech related, from keeping up with the smartest tablets, smartphones, cameras, microphones. I have probably 60 gaming mouses here in my office that I use. I just rotate.
Really?
I probably about $3,000 worth of gaming mouses in my office. So,
wow.
So every time there's one getting released, I will go and purchase it. That's my thing.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of like a little gaming shop, like a little Best Buy in my office. So
do you do like reviews and stuff on those?
I will be. Yes, I will be doing that here shortly. You got I will be releasing
of them. You have to have a favorite, or at least one favorite, right?
I actually released one on my user group platform. It's on MeWe, the DFW BIM Infrastructure User Group, and did a review of like this one here, which is the Razer Naga Trinity Pro wireless one. It's got 12 buttons here.
Wow.
But the review, because I create all these shortcuts for stuff like this, is, how does it benefit me using InfoWorks, AutoCAD, all these different Autodesk products? If I program macros and all these commands, so I don't use a keyboard. So if I'm doing this plus the other one here on my other side, of my other hand, and
is that a mouse?
It's like a keyboard. It's a mouse and keyboard. It's got joysticks on the side.
That is crazy. I've never seen anything like that.
This is the Razer Tartarus. So I use in conjunction this one too. So I could set about 200 macros on that one with a shift
button.
That's
insane. I had no idea that was so in your right hand or left on this screen reminds me of like the new age puck that I was talking about. How you said that there's a bunch of buttons on the left hand side or on the
the cool thing about stuff like this and doing a review is like some people are like, well, that's just too high tech for me. And I was showing this to I think it was Donnie or Sean, where I'm like, okay, if this is too much for you, just pop that off and you go to a 9-button one instead. I don't know if you can see it. There's 9 buttons now, or 6 buttons actually. Well, actually not, because you got the top ones too. So you got 6 on the side. But if that's too much, you just go to the basic one, and now you got a 2-button one. It's a magnetic flip, and you just flip them around. So
that's insane. I had no idea. Well, listen, if you would like to see my cheesy mouse, it just has 2 buttons. It's like you can buy it at Walmart or Kmart or wherever.
But I have some of the old ones from the 80s. I have in my drawer, like old ones. I collect all these different mouses. So
do you still have a puck from like the?
Yeah, I think I have a puck somewhere in one of my drawers, and I also have very unique ergonomical ones that are straight up. That I ordered from I think China or Japan. I ordered straight from over there.
That's really cool.
So I have a whole shelf dedicated to ergonomical keyboards, or mouses, all different shapes.
That's cool.
So
you definitely need to do some reviews on those so I can check it out, because I had no idea that was even a mouse or a keyboard or any of that. And that
I got some
button thing was pretty cool.
It looks like a mouse, but at the thumb, actually the middle, the pointer finger, the numbers are here on the pointer finger in front of your finger. All the number locks.
That's crazy.
There's like 10 buttons right there in your finger point in this mouse. So I had to get it because it was very unique. Like, I wonder if I could use it using my pointer finger, typing in digits.
That's crazy. I had no idea, but that's a really cool hobby. Now I have to follow your YouTube and wherever you're putting it.
That one I haven't released yet. So I've just got the Expert Elite, and then, of course, my custom apps for my company YouTube channel for that. But that one's coming so pretty soon. First, I got to get a good studio going. I'm getting more camera set up so that way I can do a good product review and maybe a sponsor from Razer and Logitech, because yeah, I mean, I got some very, very expensive Logitech too.
I'm sure, but that's really cool.
That's
I
my
learned something new today.
I do that. I collect comic books. I did it as a kid when I was 10 years old. So I have a huge stack of comic books. I still collect to this day, trying to complete different sets I had as a kid. So all the Infinity War movies, I don't know if your kids are into the comic book movies that's been going on. I actually have the original set at home from when I was 10 years old. Now they made a movie.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, I have the original 12 volume set. No, 18 volume set. So there was 3
That's
parts.
pretty cool.
We only talked about 1 part, but so I collect comic books and I like doing outdoor stuff. So that's kind of my thing. I'm hoping to get started and pushing, but get started with Big Brother, Big Sister program here in Dallas to see if I could make a difference for a young child or a teenager.
Yeah.
See what I can do and teach them some of the mistakes and make sure they don't make the same mistakes I did as a kid and teenager. So,
Yeah, it's part of growing up, right? Yeah. We got to make some mistakes, just hopefully not life-threatening ones. So
yeah.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, this has been a ton of fun. Yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity and a chance to meet you. I'm really looking forward to meeting other expert elites and hanging out at the next EU. If we ever have one in person, I really do miss Autodesk University in person. Are you doing any classes this year?
My Expert Elite Summit I'm doing in Texas live in person.
I did see that. I'll have to look at the dates again and see if I can attend. That would be great. Do you usually get a big turnout?
And I think this year will be a bigger turnout. Last year we had a few cancels, but we did have some people here. So I'm going to do it again this year with more people, more invites, and see how it goes. So, but
that'd be awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, thank you. Oh, have a great weekend.
Yeah, you do the same. Take care. Again, this is a lot of fun. We'll talk soon.